It is March 11th, 2022. I had to sleep in a hotel room. It's my first time ever actually being able to buy my own hotel room. So I went on one of those sites like booking.com or something like that in order to get a cheaper one. I don't know, it might have been one of their other ones. But anyway, and that was cheaper than me having to just call around and ask them what the prices were. So I'm just chilling right before checkout at 11 and wanted to make a video sharing how my morning has gone, which it's very peaceful because I was here by myself and I just couldn't sleep. I woke up at approximately 2 in the morning, stayed up till 5, and then fell asleep for a few hours as well. And I had fallen asleep somewhere around 9:30, say 10 o'clock. So I really didn't get a whole lot of sleep. I never really do because I never really have a safe place. And even when I have a safe place, it never turns out to be safe. Majority of the time. I just never know when I'm going to be kicked out for no reason. Absolutely no reason. Why would you be mean to someone that is already suffering through as much emotional and psychological trauma as I've had to deal with, especially with the fact that nobody ever believes me when I actually speak up about my trauma. Nobody ever believes me when I actually speak up about the things people have done to me. And I thought for once that I would actually get my voice heard and that people would see me and be like, oh, she's a strong girl. She actually, I was able to to catch these perpetrators for having done what they had done to me, because I'm really not that naive. I always go into every type of situation understanding the fact that, everybody's going to want to take advantage of me just because I'm not the prettiest, and I get that. So they presume from a few photos that I'm perfect. There's so many people that are like, oh, you look so great. And then they'll meet me and they'll see the small flaws that I have and bags under my eyes and whatnot, or frowning and stuff, or the fact that one boob's larger than the other. And I don't show my breasts. I haven't shown my breasts to boys like that in years. There was a time where I just didn't care about myself, but at this point I'm trying really hard to maintain myself as a lady, as a woman, a young woman, and appropriate myself in a manner that I would want my daughter to appropriate herself in. Even in the circumstances that I've been in, I thought that I was helping people understand that it's okay to have platonic relationships and get to know one another prior to engaging sexually. But that hasn't happened recently for me, and I'm not really sure why this is going on in my life. And somebody had stated, on one of my videos, they were like, you had it coming. And I'm like, what? And this is all part of the plan, they said. This was all part of the plan. And I was like, yeah, whose plan? Not mine, obviously. So I'm horrified because I did not expect to be suffering through homelessness, as well as my bouts of mental instability, and then as well as just having to disclose this to anyone that will listen to me and talk to me, because no one is reliable when it comes to mental health in this country. The fact that my therapist just stopped communicating was interesting, but then again too, he was giving me some strange advice, telling me that a crackhead was an angel. I thought that was odd. But okay. Do what you gotta do in order to survive. And I think that everybody's shocked that I would turn around and still voice my opinion after being beaten down by all these government systems and the judicial courts that got everything wrong about me. And I'm still fighting. I don't care. I'm going to fight till the blood drains out of my body. And I laugh at you people for trying to hurt somebody that's already sustained so much trauma and seeing how much more I can handle. And it sickens me that the US government would allow these things, these circumstances to happen to anyone. I would hate to have anybody come over to this country and expect they would be able to progress, and in actuality they're marked from the moment they get here. They're classified in their number system and their racial profiling, and it's not just. It's not a very balanced country, and that's why I tell people, and supposedly I'm reaching out to other countries with my videos, but I don't feel like I'm making any headway. Instead, I keep getting beat down. Somebody was like, "I'm sorry that this happened to you," and I was like, "Yeah, it seems like every time I make one step forward, I get kicked 10 steps back." And it's unnatural. It's like a supernatural event that's happening to me. And I understand that I woke up years ago and I tried to wake up and this and that, and people kept giving me shots. They were like, "It's not your time to wake up." Well, I'm 34 years old. I'm going to be 35 this year, and I'm pretty sure I'm as woke as I'm going to fucking be, and rationalizing that everybody's out for themselves and they're all in their fucking, societies and whatnot, and I'm just not accepted. And I get that. Like, you people do what you do, and if I'm not worthy of your time and efforts, then that's fine, and I'm not going to manipulate the systems in order to get up to your status, because I don't feel like that's appropriate. I shouldn't have to walk on others in order to be powerful. I shouldn't have to walk on others in order to engage with others in a way to where it's like inhumane. I like to see people as an individual, and a majority of the time I was getting crapped on by all these individuals in their whatever flawed systems, whatever, numerical categories they were placing everyone in. And that's why I tell people about this whole racial bias and these other, and I only use the words that I've come in contact with. Someone even told me about a word today, voxing, that I was voxing this man that raped me, and that's apparently like slander toward them online. And I'm like, bro, you don't even know. Like, I knew him for a moment, and I wish I hadn't. Like, I messaged him too. Brownie in my teeth this morning. I had the rest of my brownie from dinner last night. This morning it was made out of black bean or whatever. It's actually pretty tasty. But there was a fucking like cat hair that came out of it, and I still ate it because the guy gave it to me for free. Someone, I guess the manager, bought it for me. And so they sent it over to the table, and I was like, "Oh, and that's nice." And then I went and took a picture. I was about to take a picture, and there was a little white fucking hair sticking inside of the fucking brownie on the very edge. I was horrified. I wanted to gag. But then I was like, okay, whatever, don't take a picture of that, even though you want to call them out on it, because that's fucking disgusting. But it's a small business, and I believe that people should have the opportunity to expand that way. My parents used their small business of the used cars in order to solidify all the properties that they had. And that's okay, I guess, if you do everything legitimately, but it's also not okay to be fondling your daughters in this fucking same instance as you're trying to proceed and like progress and make something of yourself in this country. Like, there's no reason to walk on others. There's no reason to walk on your own relatives. There's no reason to talk down to anybody. And everybody that has known me personally and interacted with me, say through school, say through my works, say through even like being friends, know how giving and like accommodating that I am, and very compassionate toward others until I'm offended. Then of course my entire demeanor changes, and I am very crude, very rude, very degrading towards some other individuals that are upsetting me, or I feel like they're doing something that should be frowned upon. So even my one friend, we worked at Menards together, we went to high school together, and she frowned upon the fact that I was smoking medicinal marijuana off the clock when I was working at Menards. And I feel like it wasn't her portion to judge because I had done some research on understanding that, you know, I was suffering through something mentally and I needed some type of medication to cope with it because of the sexual trauma. So the fact that she didn't want to, like, necessarily be my friend because she had harbored resentments toward what I was doing, although they were irrational, because she didn't understand the full extent of the trauma that I've sustained. And it's sad. It's very disheartening that people would judge me based upon that. And for years, I knew that I was being classified as some type of, I want to say nefariant, but really I want to say like someone that is, you know, doing criminal activity. I've told you of the stores that I stole from, and I didn't understand why I was suffering through the klepticism, and then I understood because my father always had us steal things that were free, or steal things from stores and then just say, oh, my child stole it, whatever. And that reminds me of the lady who stole my my conditioner and then blamed it on her son. And I was like, well, yeah, you know, our parents taught us to do these backhanded things. They had 5 children in the United States, and the United States wasn't feeding them and their children well enough. My parents never actually got real jobs during the entire time that I was a child and growing up, and even as adults. They never wanted to work those menial jobs. And I learned from that. I was like, I'm not going to be classified as one of those workers and also working. And people are like, you could get a job at McDonald's. Yeah, supporting Satan? No, thank you. I'll pass on that. You know, like, I'm not going to support something I don't believe in that way. And I've tried to disclose that. Like, you know, the people that work there, they're offering this terrible food to people, and it's not nutrients, and inevitably it comes back around to bite you in the ass. And I've tried to explain that to people in the judicial system as well, that if you're ruining other people's lives, you know, it is karma. It's part of the energy flow. And if you're hurting people, inevitably it always comes back around to you. And we know these stories. We know these true events, these you know, unfabricated circumstances that actually turned out to be, you know, too circumstantially true. Like, you know, the situations were too synchronistic to where it's like, wow, this is a crazy story. Like, how did this happen? And I think it's just a lot of people's vibration. It's a lot of people's energy that they disperse. So that's why I just sort of sit and wait, because I know I have bursts of energy here and there, and I don't try to expel it all because I know I need it to sustain myself through the trauma. Me resting and relaxing may look lazy to some people, but really it's part of my post-traumatic stress, and it's part of my, you know, anxiety disorders, where it's very hard for me to socialize. Look at me, you know, exposing the truth to the world, and then now I've got warrants out for my arrest. I told somebody, I was like, that's illegal. There's really no reason for, like, doing that to an individual. And that's why I call these things out online, and then, like, attach the people that are involved to, like, actually just mark down the people that I'm talking about, because I'm just, like, horrified. Please, just leave me alone. Please, just give me my belongings. Give me my poodles, you know, like, and it's not even those belongings. I don't want those trash anymore. I want better than that. And people understand that, yeah, why am I seeking more when I'm basically not doing anything for anyone? In actuality, I'm doing everything for everyone, because it's like I have to do everybody's jobs constantly and correct them, and everybody worries why I'm such a Karen. Fuck you. I'm a Karen because I have to be. I have to disclose these things to the world because of the fact that people aren't correcting their errors. And then I knew that there was something very odd about me, that I had control issues even as a child. And you know, I was very, very weird about being overly compulsive and having to keep everything very hygienic, because if I didn't, then my parents would beat me. So there was always that underlying fear in the back of my mind, and I understood that that's why religion is out there as well, is that you have to instill some semblance of that negativity in someone in order for them to engage with the positivity on a balanced level and understand that they cannot take too much. Even the people, like I've stated prior, that were on a bunch of food stamps, and they're not able to afford for their monstrous diets, and, you know, over consuming. And yes, I've got a bunch of extra food in my car, and I should just donate it, because the majority of it is making my stomach sick, because a lot of it is organic and everything too, But I'm not feeling well lately. Like, everything that I eat makes me sick. I don't want to eat anything. By the time I eat it, I'm disgusted by it. Never want to touch it again. I think that's just hormones from the pregnancy. But, and I disclose all this stuff because this is my form of therapy. I don't care what others think. I don't know why you would mention anything on my videos or comment about it. You're meaningless to me. You're pointless. Like, and I get that. Like, I understand that you exist and that you're trying to make your point, but don't do it on my videos because it's none of your business what I do. And if we met face to face, maybe we could have a decent interaction if you understood that you're probably incompetent. Don't talk to me. Just don't come up to me. Don't try to do anything but offer me things. That's it. That's what I tell people. Like, I'm done. Like, if you have nothing to exchange for my time, then my time is valued somewhere else. It's better valued in a different circumstance. So that's why I make these videos, because I feel like, and people don't engage with me because I have such a different vocabulary than them. I use these words that they don't comprehend all the time. And when I have a sentence flow that is so smooth, you know, they just really can't engage with certain words all at once. And I had to realize that. I had to rationalize that through the years, is that, you know, I had won, I don't know, some type of competition for writing when I was in the 7th grade, 6th or 7th grade, and I used the word array. And I realized that it wasn't really natural for children to understand the definitions at that age of larger words. But I loved engaging with them, although reading was my worst subject, because I didn't want to read some of the large words that I was reading when it came to any of the trauma that I sustained. So when we started having, like, sex ed and things like that, and some of the vocabulary in that, and you know, when it was talking about too, like the drug dare and things like that, I didn't want to engage with some of the negative words that I was witnessing, like the word pedophile. I didn't realize what that word was until much later on, when I was like in my 20s, essentially. Because I didn't want to read it, because I didn't want to read something that was based on my life events, you know, based off of the traumas that I've sustained. So even like the word domestic violence, I didn't know what that was. So when I would even tell people about it when I was younger, I didn't know what words to tell the officers. I didn't know what words to tell them aside from touch, you know, that I was being touched at home. And that in a not good way, in the areas that are supposed to be my areas and nobody else's. And then people would call me out on being a liar. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure these things are happening, and that's why I'm so horrified. And that's why I don't let people touch me like that anymore. And I've never really been like that because, you know, even in those instances where I was highly promiscuous, because I was seeking that comfort in those sexual acts that I was forced to engage in at a very early age, and I understood, I mean, that I blocked out a lot of the trauma that my dad did to me, but then at the same time, I thought when I spoke up about it that somebody was going to actually do something about it. But then they were telling me some BS about statutes of limitations and all this and that. So I started having to research all of these things, research all of my actual rights, and research what the constitutional rights were. And so then that's why people can't just pull me over for no reason or do this and that to me, because they understand that I understand. I'm going to find the appropriate phrasing, and I'm going to call you out for what exactly you've done to me. So, yeah, I'm a little slow sometimes, but not really. I'm actually really smart in some ways. I have to give myself some semblance of credit, because I managed to make it this far. And I'm not using anybody else but myself. And whatever you say about the taxpayers having to pay for me, well, yeah, no shit, because it's a lot of those taxpayers that didn't listen and correct the situation years ago, so I should be paid fucking millions of dollars for it. Let's be fucking real here. And then I would use it to help people in my circumstances, or little girls that don't know the phrasing, the words that are, you know, being exposed to them, and they're also being told at home that they're going to get fucking killed. So I know what's going on. Like, I know there are kids that I've interacted with that I'm very, very concerned about, and that aren't able to open up, and that's why they open up at school at weird times, and that's why they act a certain way, and that's why they're forced on medications, because there's something wrong. Because, you know, even some of those parents in those higher positions, or the people that we presume are like ethical or whatnot because of their careers, they're not. Behind closed doors, they're monsters, they're deviants, and worse than some of us. Worse than some of us civilians. Worse than some of us just menial, low-income workers, the working class. So then I just explained to people, please don't mind me. I'm just very itchy. I think I've got like eczema or something on my breasts. So, and I'm not trying to be like, ew, expose them, whatever. I'm just laying here in the morning. It's warm. I put the heater on last night. I came into a freezing room. I'm just trying to be comfortable for a little while. Tomorrow night's supposed to get down to 7 degrees. So I need to get out of this area. Somewhere in there, like 5 degrees, something like that. So I'm over it. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be on this earth, if that makes any sense. My sister used to call me an alien all the time because of the things that I said, and because of the things that I wouldn't do, even though people would demand them of me. And I'm like, no, I have rights. Even as a little girl, I would put my hands on my hips and I'd be like, no, you can't do that to me. No, I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell. And even if there's no one beyond the government and whoever's watching these videos, like, they know better. They don't really want to hurt someone like me, and I understand that. But they also have to put people through pain and suffering here and there so they can understand a person. So that you can truly understand a person and see if they are lying and manipulating things. And I was horrified because one time when I ended up in the hospital, I was getting these weird shock waves in my brain. And it was so painful. I'd never felt anything like that. And it was only after I had interacted with authorities and whatever. So I knew I was like injected with something strange. Very, very strange. I was having these weird pulsations in my brain and they were surging through my body and it was just like an electrical current. And I didn't understand what was going on. So I went and I laid down in one of the rooms too at one of the hospitals. It was over there, National Park Hospital in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I was laying underneath the table and I was kicking my foot because there was so much vibration going on in my brain. I felt like it was being fried. And I was like, what is going on? Like, there's no way that they do have the electroshock therapy and they're able to use these frequencies on people from distances after injecting them with certain metallics. But then I had to do the research on my own and realize, well, that's completely fathomable. And that's completely viable because they have the technology to do things like that. So I'm not sure why you would try to heighten my frequency. I'm nobody and I'm nothing to anyone aside from like just my charismatic personality. And I try to be nice to everyone that I meet. I see things from their perspective on their level. But if you immediately start attacking me, then of course we're not going to have a good rapport. Of course we're not going to have a good, conversation or circumstance after you've already demeaned me or disrespected me in such a way. So I try to appropriate myself as best I can without even looking like a little girl, because a majority of the time people don't even know my age because of the way that I sound. Apparently I sound very young and I sound like whatever to people. And some days I look very young, depending on what I'm wearing and what, my hairstyle is or if I've got any makeup or not on. So, I don't know. And this is already 25 minutes of a rant. So I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm doing good. I'm gonna leave this hotel. I don't have money for any hotels anymore, and I'm worried that I'm not gonna be able to have like somewhere safe to stay by Saturday night. I'm gonna be cold and whatever, freezing to death. But then I'm like, fuck it. If that's what you want, if that's how you want your story to end, then fuck it. I'll just go lay in my car and freeze to death and piss on myself, and then you'll have a story. Then you'll really have a fucking story, because then you have a corpse on your fucking hands. And then this girl's been speaking out for this and that, and there's too many people that know my story. So, and that's exactly why I did it. That's exactly why I kept fucking hounding everyone and screaming at everybody. And I don't care if you think I'm crazy, because I create these videos so you can recognize this is what's going on in my day and age. This is what's going on to me today. This is what's going on. And also, too, my daughter being ripped away from me and having to relay all of this to her. And, like, this is why mommy got, ripped away from you because of all these other crazies and all this fucking misdiagnosed whatever and misclassified this and that and falsified documents. And this is why mommy can't be next to you. And this is why mommy went crazy. And it's like, what? Why don't you guys fix the situation? Like, I'm a mother to a child. I'm pregnant right now, 15 weeks today. And I'm very happy that I have a baby inside of me. But at the same time, I'm not very happy because I'm not being, like, comforted. Not at all. I want someone to hold. I want something to hold. And I wish the father of the child would just act appropriately or, do the right thing by someone. But no, I can never trust anybody to do the right thing. And I realized that throughout the years, and even the U.S. government, you cannot trust them to do the right thing because even the cancer labels aren't on cheese yet. And it's like, you need to rationalize. You got to tell your citizens, this food is causing you cancer. This food is causing you mental distortions and physical problems and ailments and diabetes and all this stuff. And it's like, please, just get over yourselves. I'm not trying to be some kind of advocate for things. I'm just stating the facts. And I'm not trying to be like all in anybody's business. It's none of my business. If that's how you want to run the country, then go, so be it. I don't care. But at the same token, you have to realize what your actual citizens that are trying to help others are like. And that's me. Because I'm just doing my own thing, minding my own business, trying to spend my money here and there at different restaurants because that's what I like. And I wish I had a puppy, and that's what I love. I love animals, and I love taking care of things, and it makes me very sad if I see things or anybody in pain. If it hurts me on a level that people don't understand. And I'm just hypersensitive and very emotional because I've lived and sustained so many different traumas, and I've seen so many others that I loved sustain traumas. I wish they wouldn't be sick. I wish people weren't sick. I wish people in the government weren't sick. I wish people would listen. I wish they wouldn't touch me. This is my body. This is all I have in this world. This is it. And that's why I altered everything, because God spoke to me years ago and told me, you're not supposed to eat certain things. You're not supposed to act a certain way. You're also supposed to use your body again. And you're also supposed to smoke weed because that makes you feel better. That's the only thing that helps you cope. So that's what I did. And so immediately I started smoking weed. I got off all the psych meds. I altered my, reality and lost 150 pounds. So really, I look decent, I may not be perfect like when I was a teenager, but fuck it. I'm 34 years old. There's nothing but it's going downhill if I don't take care of it. And people are still surprised, like, how does she have her teeth? Well, because I enjoyed flossing. Because I enjoyed that, because I'm slightly sadistic. Because I enjoy slight amounts of pain, because I know that getting through the pain, and my therapist was saying something about, and I don't mean to be condescending toward him because I know he was just being kind, but he said that he wanted to write a novel about walking where the pain was not. Walk where the pain is not. Walk where the pain is not. Something like that. Like to be avoidant of pain. And I say, no, that's the opposite. I don't believe you. Like you have to confront the pain and the issues in order to overcome them. So then that way that you can be eased into the comfort. Like everybody has to have that equilibrium and that balance. So I understand that's why I'm living and suffering through homelessness for longer than I had anticipated, because I just don't care. Somebody's going to take care of me. Every day is like that. God is always going to take care of me, and it's through godly people that approach me in a way that they're not trying to steal from me. Like Jason Wallace, trying to fucking rape me and leave me for dead and sticking a baby inside of me. Like, that's not cool at all. And then you're just going to get a warrant out for my arrest because you have the the fucking way to do it. Like, why are you guys being so mean? Don't be mean to people like me. I didn't do anything to you aside from voicing the honest truth. And then you guys just want to kill me for it, and it's like, okay, fine, kill me then. Like, then I'm better off because that's what I've been speaking out about since I was 12 years old anyway. So I would rather be dead than have to deal with this reality. And that's so true. There's a lot of people that feel that way, Then I know a lot of those people. I see a lot of those people, and I'm thinking, like, if only they had certain comforts, if they only had certain resources that they could go to in order to fix themselves, you wouldn't have so many suicide rates and whatever, but I understand that's part of the grand scheme of things. And then also weaning out, you know, the people that aren't strong enough to cope, and the people that aren't able to this and that, you know, the strong will survive type stuff. So, I get it. I completely understand and comprehend. I'm playing with my tassels on my belt. I better get off here because it's about time to check out. So, anyway, have a blessed day, everybody. I'm very tired, disgruntled. I wish I could have had more sleep. I'm not looking forward to the day. I gotta go get my vitamins and stuff and try to take care of myself every moment of the day, because that's all I can do is self-soothe, even though everybody's acting crazy toward me. Don't put warrants out for my arrest for no reason. I didn't do shit. Now I've got to contact Oklahoma and be like, what did I do? What do you want from me? Please don't put me in jail. I don't want to be in jail. I'm pregnant. And then you won't feed me, because then you're going to be like the vegan diet, you know, like when I was in jail for those 5 days just recently for trespassing. And they didn't feed me for 4 days. And then the 5th day I finally got food. Like, what? Give me some fucking food. I'm starving in here. And then it's like, oh, we gotta make you suffer because you got you're always laughing and smiling at everything. We gotta make sure you suffer. I'm laughing and smiling because those are nervous tendencies. Those are nervous tics toward the abuse. It's not necessarily that I'm happy. It's just I force myself into a higher vibration because I have to. Because it's all deranged what I'm looking at. You guys are silly. Quit being silly. You guys are like a bunch of toddlers. What are you gonna get from someone like me? Nothing. Aside from fucking me talking down to you. And you should be above me. And it's like, whatever, cool. Fuck you. I own you, bitch. You still pay my bills. Alright, everybody have a blessed day. And I know I'm so crude sometimes and I'm so rude, but I just don't care. You guys are over there sipping on your tea and whatever you want and yada yada in your conference rooms and yada yada, all your special people with whatever, with their families secreted away so that they don't get hurt and whatnot. Fuck you people all fancy like that. I want to be fancy too. I want to be kind. I want to give back. And instead you guys are always taking from people like me, like my fucking sanity. What else do you want? You already have pieces of my body here and there. Ew, my body's all gross. I need to go work out so I can start working on some of this skin again. That's what I was doing last, and it's like so many nutrients now. I'm all bloated and fat. Just fucking huge. Anyway, everybody have a blessed day. Bye.